Good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening, and welcome to Pit Road Productions, or if you're joining us from Swallow Almeida's channel, a good morning, good warning even. You're in for a bumpy ride, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Pit Road Productions booth here, and we're going to be here for Fuji for the Almeida Racing League, sponsored, very thankfully, by Podium 1. And it's going to be an absolute belter of a track today. We're going to be here in Fuji in that Formula 3, not the Formula 4, ladies and gentlemen, the Formula 3, as I have so famously had the mistake of doing it before, but certainly we should probably introduce ourselves. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the commentary booth today is going to be the one and only Mr. Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, and at the production controls, the one and only Mr. Rob, the Goatee Campbell. Reese, I've got to say, Fuji definitely got a lot of drafting opportunities on that main straight, but certainly a technical track indeed. What can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, this place has been around since the 1960s, actually. Some very interesting track history facts about this place that I'll get into throughout the broadcast. But in its current form, Fuji is an FIA Grade 1 circuit. It's got expansive runoff areas, sawtooth curbs, and plenty of hard outbraking opportunities. But interestingly, the layout that Almeida Racing League have chosen to run for this round takes out the chicane at the start of Sector 3. After the run down the hill through the right-hand kinks, it is basically just a hard right before you get into that sweeping final sector. So it takes out one potential outbraking opportunity from the track, but I think it ups the challenge a bit for these drivers because the curbs here can be brutal.
Absolutely, certainly when I seen Fuji on the schedule, the curbs indeed was exactly where I was thinking, and certainly as well, you can flirt with them a little bit, but certainly they will indeed slap you back. As you can see here, Jake ends in the chat actually pretty much summarizing exactly the same thought I have. Basically saying it's a lot harder than it looks. As I see the Leon Bentvels fan club is starting to roll in as well. Orem there. We did actually offer them a fan cam, and it was described as being introverted actually. And honestly, I get it, but I just wanted you guys to know that we did indeed offer that. If you have a cheerleading section and you want them to be featured on the broadcast, we're up for it here at Pit Road Productions. Certainly have a little bit of giggles here. And while we do have the iRacing stands, I do find they can be a little bit neutral at times. But Reese, let's maybe see if we can get a little bit of a lap on board. Actually, you know what we should do? We should check out the schedule.
We should. We should indeed. We started off the season in Montreal at the end of June, went to Spa and Sebring for rounds 2 and 3. We're here at Fuji for the 4th round of the championship. Then we go to Algarve, Zandvoort, and Road America to end off the season over the next few weeks. It's a really good track selection here for Formula 3. It's all tracks that we've seen high-level open-wheel racing at, except maybe Sebring and Road America, but then there's plenty of great categories that race there, top level to be sure. I'm looking forward to seeing outbraking opportunities aplenty over the course of the next few rounds. And coming into the format for tonight, it's we're moving away from the endurance format for this particular round. We're going to be having 2 heats of 15 minutes each, and then a feature of 20 minutes, which basically is going to take us through to the end of the night. They're in qualifying at the moment, have just completed 60 minutes of practice. There's about 9 minutes remaining of the 15 minutes of open qualifying. The first heat race being 15 minutes, and heat race 2 has a randomized invert. It will be very interesting to see if that's going to take the entire field inverted, or if it's just going to be a few. Have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very fun one, Reese, but I've got to say the crowd is indeed going wild. Ladies and gentlemen, have a look who's currently sat in P1, that number 23 car, the crowd favourite. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Leon Bentvels, and the humble man himself. You see him there, he's at the start of a lap, I believe. But certainly Fuji can be a little bit hard to get your bounds off sometimes, but I've got to say, as tracks go, Reese, absolutely fantastic. At the end of the lap, there we go, look, it's going well with it, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see here, absolutely fantastic scenery here in Japan. I've got to say, I do wish my bags were packed, my flight was booked, and I certainly would love the experience, actually. Come and think of it, Reese, you're, for lack of better words, you are on the other side of the world, not just intellectually, but certainly physically, in this case, being there in Australia. If I had to travel, I guess, to Australia, I guess, what would be the highlights if I went over to that side of the world? What would be, like, your nearest, I say nearest, you're in Australia, but you know what I'm saying, you're more attainable track to visit if I was to head over on that side of the world?
Well, Mount Panorama is the obvious option. I'm on the other side of Australia to Mount Panorama, but all it takes is a couple of $1,000 for a plane fare and a few hours of my time, and I'm straight there. Yeah, I think if you're going to be going over to this side of the world, there's plenty worse places you can go than Fuji Speedway, and it's called Fuji Speedway because, as you saw from Ben Velsen's onboard, it literally is on the slopes of Mount Fuji. Coming through the final sector, you can see the mountain. That's Mount Fuji right there.
Absolutely beautiful, and it's certainly actually, despite the fact we're not at the Red Bull Ring, it does, when I just see that, it makes me think of these the guys in these like flying squirrel suits, which are, for lack of better words, they're nuts, and by nuts I mean they're incredibly courageous. But certainly, you know, it just makes me think of like what a fantastically beautiful view. I seem to be really nostalgic for the landscapes here today at Pit Road Productions and indeed at Mount Fuji. But let's take a quick look on board here with Matthias Kuhn in the 09, who's currently resting in 3rd place. Reese, do the honours.
All right, hopefully he commits to this lap, otherwise we're going to look very silly. It's a long run down the start-finish straight here. That's the finish line right there, and it's a comparatively short run to turn 1 from there. Wait for the 100 marker, brake all the way down to probably about 110, 120 k's an hour for the first hairpin, and then a short blast down to where the twisties almost begin. A very hard sweeping left-hander. Got to be careful not to run too far over the curb, and then turns 4 and 5. Just incredible corner this, all the way to the right-hand side. You carry so much speed. Also through the hairpin of turn 6. Turn 7 is officially counted as that little left blend on the exit. Then 2 right-hand kinks on the way down to the final sector, which is where the twisties really begin. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we're cutting out the chicane. There it is to the right, but it's just a sweep through, and then you're hard on the brakes again for the 12th or 13th turn. Corner numbers are hard. And then you accelerate up the hill, get on the brakes again for the hard left-hander. Careful not to run too far over the curb there, because there's some yellow speed bumps that'll absolutely ruin your lap. Late apex the final turn, get on the power as soon as you possibly can, and it'll benefit you all the way down the start-finish straight. It's a tough circuit to pass on in the middle sector, and in the last sector as well, but see the slipstream potential here. Down the start-finished straight. Turn 1 is going to be the prime overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, definitely some opportunities indeed. But you know, one thing I did notice, if we go back on board with one of these cars at the start of the lap there, I believe the Thomas 23, we can verify why they're indeed having some success. So stay with me. Follow the logic. It's not a great one, but you're going to see exactly what I'm on about. So just stay with me here, as we are in actually the best coloured car, ladies and gentlemen. It is almost of a British racing green hue. So as they come around, I believe it's this left-hander. Look at the signage above the track, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, not this one. We're going to keep going, keep riding. As there you go. That's taking a little bit too much curve. They're getting a little bit greedy. I do wonder if there are indeed going to be a few people who pick up some slowdowns here. Certainly, I'm going to keep an eye out for it. Maybe I'm having a lack of caffeine, ladies and gentlemen, but where is it? Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly why. This is why the number 23 is out in front. Leon is literally written there on the track.
Very nice. Whoa, that's a big slide for him, though, coming into the final sector. Leon, I suppose, will be very happy that maybe it's a prophecy of some kind for Mr. Bent Velsen, because he's executing this qualifying session perfectly for the moment. 1 minute 30.7 top time in the session. That is more than 2/10 quicker than the next fastest car of Garrett Lund, and in this league that's a pretty sizable gap. So Leon is nailing this for the time being. Kevin Adrian down in P14, he's going to try his best to improve on a 131.4, about 5-6 tenths off what Bent Velsen could manage. Garrett Lund here in second place in the session, but with no draft buddies. He's getting some extra track time in, but I don't know if he'll be able to improve on his time without some slipstream. Brian Lenzer has gone to 6th place out of nowhere. He didn't quite get the time he wanted to get into, I guess, even the top 15, but now he's rocketed up to P6.
Certainly some good things there. And if you're wondering where we got some of the coaches, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'm not sure where Kane Halliburton is, but I can indeed tell you where Connor Bell is this weekend. He's actually coaching for Brady Clapham, who's there at Toronto Indy, probably one of the biggest motorsport events in Canada. I'd say if you're on the East Coast, but sort of like the middle and east, I don't know what they get up to over in the West, ladies and gentlemen. They don't let me in that time zone, but certainly there's definitely going to be a lot of people out there who you may indeed know. I don't know if Swello's out there today as well. It would be wicked to see if he is, but definitely a lot of people Pit Road Productions have met from the sim racing world. We've got the likes of, Cedric O'Hyan. We've got John Bembled's going to be there. Caden Goodrich is going to be there. All sorts of drivers. Certainly, it's a shame. We'd love to see Connor Bell behind the wheel, but he's indeed coaching. And I think with his coaching, Brady Clapham has managed to get a P1 as well. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that little spoiler there, but you got to say, if you're a little bit unsure potentially about getting involved in the Almeida Racing Academy, well, ladies and gentlemen, this Connor's coaching skills, don't get me wrong, you've got the academy, but then you also have the coaches as well. Well, with those skill set with the driver, they're currently P1. So I'm going to say, yeah, that's a pretty good referral, if you ask me.
Certainly is. Mahid Rahman just going to second place there. That's a great improvement from him. Gets to within a tenth of Ben Velzen's provisional pole time. Worth pointing out that the drivers that Zipiel mentioned, they're part of the Radical Canada Cup, which is running as a support category at the Honda Indy Toronto and has for the last few years, I believe. So in the sports car racing world in Canada, you're seeing lots of real-life effects being taken from the Almeida Racing Academy and those involved with it. Really awesome to see. We only have a minute left in qualifying, and this being a heat session, there'll be a hard cut to the end of qualifying. So I think we're going to be seeing a few drivers miss out on improving on their times here. Vijay Rajasekaran currently sitting P5. He'll be able to finish his lap before the timer runs out.
Certainly, he was absolutely on fire last week, just completely cleaned up. It was a very, very good experience for him, able to get in a good set of points there. But I've got to admit, I am a little bit jealous. Actually, my boss has managed to make it over to Toronto Indy, so it's fair to say next time he asks for that, his time is going to be, his vacation request is going to be denied, as I'll be going instead, if not indeed as well, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I guess it is what it is. I can't tell the boss that he can't go on holiday, but I can certainly try and stow away in his luggage. Certainly, he's going to have to pay the extra baggage, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he hired me. He's already used to it at that point anyway. But certainly, it's going to be a good one here as we've got just 15 seconds left on the timer. John Morandini currently sitting there in P10 as Brian Lenz slingshots his way up into third place.
Nice job from Brian. Martin Visser as well, going up to P4. Hendricks improving to P5. And Vijay Rajasekaran just missed out on improving on his lap time by 29 thousandths of a second. You would have seen that he hit one of those speed bumps on the way out of the final corner, and I think that unfortunately ruined his lap. But that's qualifying over. And so it is time to go through the grid for race number 1. Leon Bentvelzen and Mahid Rahman are your front row, with Brian Lenzer and Martin Visser on row 2. Hendricks and Lund, P5 and 6. In 7th place, Matthias Kuhn. He's got Vijay Rajasekaran for company. Cairo Enns and John Morandini rounding out the top 10.
As you have a look in P11, the one and only Mr. Jeremy Childers is going to be there alongside Amin Alashahi as we head down to P13. Having a quick look, Michael Prechuk with Adam Mika. Not seen too much of him so far this season. I mean, he's been here, but we haven't had too much time on the camera for him, bless him. So we'll have to try and get him some screen time. Kevin Adrian, top man there. He's there in P15 alongside the UK entry of Simon Collier. Marco Chacon, that Team Raccoon Racing, I always remember his team name. He's there in P17 with Yifan Chow in 18th. Brian Lockwood in 19th, and Declan Marston did not set a time. The Welshman there in P20.
No trace of Marsden in practice either, so he was a bit of a late joiner to the session, it seems. Has he joined the grid? Not quite yet. Hasn't got much time, about 45 seconds or so before they get things live here for the first race. And looks like Marsden's just joined at the back there, so we will see a start from him. Just missing our pole sitter and Sammy Hendricks from the grid at the moment. There's Hendricks popping in there, and now we wait for Leon Bentvelzen to find his way on. It looks like he's taking a bit of time to get his nerves calmed there. On pole position here at Fuji. It's an excellent job there for Leon Bentvelzen, and he'll be hoping that he can carry through here to take the win as well. But he has got a lot of drivers who want to take it from him here. Lights up, and we're getting ready to go. go here at Race 1 at Fuji. That's a very quick time there on the countdown, and we are away here at Fuji. Good job from Bent Belsen. Keeps it up here into turn 1, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a move to the inside from Martin Visser. He almost got up the inside of Mahid Rahman.
It's certainly a very, very good start, a clean start as well, as I believe something's happened a little bit further down the pack, as it looks like Brian Lockwood maybe has dropped back indeed. I did wonder if he got maybe caught up a little bit at the start, but don't get me wrong, he's a coach, he's going to be quick. As you see Garrett Lund there getting in a fight with Matthias Kuhn side by side as they go around the right-hander, and you can almost see they're almost touching wheels as they make their way around. You can see two team blues there. Can they help each other in this scenario? The team green car of Garrett Lund almost outnumbered in this scenario. Well, I guess he is outnumbered, as he's going to be up on the inside of this next right-hander.
Yeah, it looks like Brian Lockwood got into Kevin Adrian in turn 1, so Adrian's lost his front nose assembly from that. It's a tough job for him, but we're keeping an eye on the battles in the midfield here. Cairo ends, keeping Amin Al-Ashahi and John Morandini behind him as there's a spin in the background. Jeremy Childers and Declan Marsden coming together.
Cold tyres, ladies and gentlemen, cold tyres. As you can see, a open concept car a little bit further back. That must be Kevin Adrian. You said that he had indeed lost his front nose cone, but right now, Leon Benvelsen, he's been able to hold on to that lead. He is indeed going to lead a lap, but Mahid Rahman is right behind him. Now, we've seen it before here at the Almeida Racing League. Are we going to see it again, where the lead car, if they're able to basically leave themselves, leave a little bit of a gap, they can indeed start to pull away, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Leon right now has Rahman right up his rear wing, but can they pull away from 3, 4, and 5? Martin Visser, Sammy Hendricks, and I say Brian Lenz, as Lenz looking to make a move up on the inside.
Matthias Kuhn also had a big dive on Garrett Lund in the background there. Lund takes the position back. Kuhn ran a bit too deep side by side between Lenzer and Hendricks still on the exit of turn 4. And it looks like Brian's going to get the move done on Sammy through turn 5. Beautiful job there, and he can keep the defense going here into turn 6. But Hendricks is carrying a lot of speed, and Lenzer catches too much of the curb. Round he goes.
Thankfully able to get that car up and out of the way. I saw the bounce and I did start to cringe, and it was just enough to catch him, but good news there for Sammy Hendricks. He is indeed going to pull away, but right now our hard charger, if we have a look through the field, is currently it's currently in P8, ladies and gentlemen. It's Amin Al-Shai, and they're P8 and car 8, ironically. And not only that, we have Declan Marsden as well. He's up 4 positions from the start. It looks like Yifan Chow may have had an incident as well there.
Yeah, he's towed.
Right back on the field.
Yeah, we've lost Brian Lockwood as well. So here's a replay of Lockwood at the start here, and you'll see him turn in for turn 1 and make contact with Kevin Adrian there. That takes Adrian's front nose cone off, and it looks like Lockwood lost his rear wing from that as well. So no wonder Lockwood is towed back to the pit lane from there. Jeremy Childers, meanwhile, his coming together with Declan Marsden. Oh, okay, so that was fully on Marsden there. Made contact with the car behind, got hopped up on the wheels, and there was nothing he could do from there. Went straight into Childers.
Definitely not what we was looking for to have a start, but right now Leon Benvelsen is indeed leading in himself, and Mahid Rahman are starting to pull away. As you see, there you go, that's what happened to Brian Lenz, certainly the hardest forward currently right now. But right now Mahid Rahman, the Palestine driver, is looking to try and stay on the rear wing of that number 23 car. Can himself and Leon pull away from the rest of the field? Certainly we've seen it happen before. That gap now up to about 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's working out nicely for Bentvelsen and Rahman at the moment. They don't want to battle too hard, though. And one of the things that I've noticed about Mahid in this race so far is he's not going for the move at turn 1. I think he knows that it's going to be very easy for them to battle with each other and bring everyone else back into contention. So just fly in formation for now, take advantage of Bentvelsen's pace, make sure they get the gap over everyone else, and then they can afford to fight amongst themselves in the dying minutes of the race. Oh, no! He's gone around! Mahid Rahman out of the final corner. Too much power too early. And he's going to be sent all the way to the back. He can't even get the car turned around.
Reminds me of the turning circle of my old Volvo V70. I mean, it could do it, but it took a little bit of extra effort, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly race cars are not known for having a lot of steering angle. Certainly if you take a drift car, Well, those things, it's almost like they're on casters at that point, but that is some good news there for Martin Visser. He moves up to P2. Sammy Hendricks as well, now on the podium, but look right behind him, it's Garrett Lund. He's been potent so far. He's really taken well to this Formula 3. Can he find his way up onto one of those steps?
Yeah, well, if Visser and Hendricks keep fighting like this, it could be an opportunity for a podium there for Lund. Hendricks and Visser, they've been super close into turn one last couple of times. It's always difficult trying to bring the car back over to the right-hand side for the entry into that hairpin. You saw that Lund was struggling a little bit, but evidently, oh God, that's Morandini. He's gone around out of the hairpin. Looks like he might have caught the curb on the exit, or maybe got on the power a bit too early. Quite a distance away from the acceleration zone. Interesting to see.
It certainly can indeed be very challenging, especially with some of these higher downforce cars, especially as well, Reese. You know, it can be quite awkward. Let's take a quick look at the replay. Gets a little bit of curve, and I think that was just enough as he put the power down. Different amount of traction available, and it just ended up hooking the car over. Thankfully, narrowly missing the wall.
There's such bumpy curbs here at Fuji. That's a good exit from the final corner for Martin Visser. And well, he's trying to break the slipstream while he's making the pass. Garrett Lund is jetting up to the back of himself and Sammy Hendricks all the way over to the pit wall. Don't usually see them go that far over. So now Visser on the defense coming into turn one. Hendricks on the racing line with a bit more rubber to use, but Visser just holds the inside. Hendricks picks up the power a bit better on the exit, and he's going to come up here at turn three to make the move.
Yeah, and you can see Garrett Lund has managed to catch up as well. He's looking to try and capitalize on that. Having a little bit of a connection issue, I believe. We've seen him blinking a little bit there. Is that going to affect his races right now? Hendricks has indeed made his way up into P2. Can Visser fight back? Can Lund make a move up on the pair of them? We're going to have to find out. As in, not only that, they got Matthias Kuhn right behind. This could be an absolutely massive battle here for P2, ladies and gentlemen. Multiple drivers looking to get into it. Vijay Raghsakaran, he's back there in sixth. Are we going to see him come into play as well? Certainly, he's been potent. Cairo Enns being cheered on by his father, Jake Enns, as well in the chat. Are we going to see some good news for the Canadian driver who currently rests there in P7?
Yeah, well, that battle goes all the way back from second to eighth here. And talking about Raghsakaran, he's got the, he's actually was the quickest of anyone on the last lap. Fastest lap of the entire race belongs to Garrett Lund for the moment. So a little bit more to fight there for Raghsakaran. Cairo Enns, meanwhile, he'll take advantage of that little mistake there from Raghsakaran, and they all go over to the right-hand side of the straight. You saw the Leon Pentvelsen is just all on his own at the moment. He doesn't have to alter his line. He knows that they're all fighting amongst themselves here. Look at that. that is the whole race in a picture, isn't it? Everyone from second fighting amongst themselves. Leon's just minding his own business.
I almost feel like we're going to have to change up. I mean, I'm listening to music while I do this, ladies and gentlemen. Usually I've got car sounds, but that's a story for a different day. Certainly, I do wonder if we're going to see a little bit of a conga line starting to go here from the back from P2 all the way down. It goes quite far, actually, all the way down to, let's say, P7, P8, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a little bit of a conga line starting to form as they go down that start-finish straight. But look at this. Sammy Hendricks, one of the novice coaches. He's having a good day right now. He's indeed up 3 positions so far. Can he keep hold of that? Can he hold back Martin Visser, Garrett Lund, Matthias Kuhn, Vijay Raghsakaran, and indeed Cairo Enns and Amin Alishai? They're all looking to make their way up through and make their way up onto the podium.
Yeah, I think the problem here for Visser is he's using a bit too much curb through turn 6 and through the hard right into the third sector. It's costing him some apex speed. If you stay off the curbs on the apexes, you generally do better here in a very stiffly sprung car. GTs and all that, they will absolutely monster those curbs, but these cars don't deal with it as well there. Looks like maybe a change for position, not quite. Yeah, actually, Vijay Raghsakaran and Matthias Kuhn trading spots there through the final corner, but Matthias making up the time on the start-finish straight, and he'll have the inside on Raghsakaran as well, plus the slipstream from Garrett Lund. What does Vijay do here? Actually, it looks like Matthias is going to let him through.
Yeah, I think at that point, Raghsakaran have basically put the nose in, and it's a case of, look, do you let him go, or do you fight and just drop back from the lead pack? I don't think Matthias really had much of a choice on that one.
No, doesn't look like it. So that's going to bring things to a little stalemate in their battle for the time being. And the space between the cars continues to extend here, but Martin Visser coming into turn 6 stays off the curb that time and straightens the exit. That's how you got to do that turn. He was able to get a bit more time on Lund from there. But for now, 5 minutes to go in this race, Zippy, about 3 laps or so when they cross the line next. This is where you need to start making those moves and pushing a little bit harder so you can get in the slipstream and get by into turn 1.
Yeah, certainly I had a little bit of a giggle there as for just with the camera angle. I had Leon lit up across the screen. Certainly the Ben Bells and Clan will indeed be very happy to see that. Certainly it's not something we can plan either, but don't get me wrong, it seems to be working out for him right now. He's 3.3 seconds ahead. Don't get me wrong, I could call myself Ant-Fan Panasonic Bridgestone and I still wouldn't be able to get a podium in the grid of such fantastic talented drivers.
Yeah, for sure. I don't believe I've raced against any of these drivers, but I know that I couldn't make the moves they do in an F3 car at Fuji. Speaking of moves, Vijay Rajasekaran gets by Garrett Lund into turn 1, up to 4th. He's executing this race very nicely in these opening laps, or in these closing laps, rather. We are approaching the end of the race after all. How much more will he make up here? It looks like Visser has lost touch with Hendricks. He's more than a second behind on the timing. So I don't think there's going to be much of a race for second from here. Could be a race for third. Depends on how consistent Visser can keep it.
Certainly Hendricks, all he's got to do is keep that car clean, keep that car going, and indeed bring it home. A P2 would be a fantastic result for him. But you see there, Visser can still see him, and he's got Rajasekaran right behind. I did say he's going to be one of the drivers to keep an eye on. It looks like it took him a little bit longer there to get going. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that may be a Ayrton Senna helmet there for the number 12 driver.
Looks like it is. I always love seeing the helmet designs here. And VJ letting his inspirations be known here. Braking as late as he dares into these very difficult final corners as you go up the hill towards the last corner. Run it out super wide on the way into the last turn. Apex is just about where that white marking is. And you will find your way down the start-finish straight nicely. 2 laps to go for Leon Bentvelsen, who is dominating this race so far. But one mistake can put him back in the clutches of Sammy Hendricks and Martin Visser. Speaking of Visser, there he is going defensive on Rajasekaran into turn 1. VJ absolutely lunging forward on the brakes and can't quite get it done in turn 1. Hooks up the exit all right in turn 2. But it looked like a bit of a slide there from the number 12. He'll have to wait behind a couple more corners.
He's going to start putting a little bit of extra heat in those tyres. He's got to make sure he just doesn't beat the threshold and just end up running out of grip or indeed running out of talent there as he tries to make his way up onto the podium. Currently, he was indeed the championship leader as he's gone in very deep there. Locks off a little bit, maybe a brown flag moment for the number 12 driver as he's indeed keeping his foot in it. Garrett Lund trying to make a move right behind him. Lund still having a couple of connection issues there.
Yeah, looks like not the most consistent connection. Cairo ends will continue lunging forward himself. Actually, looking at those lap times, he was half a second faster than Garrett Lund on the last lap, so there could be a move between those two for 5th place if things work out. Well, final corners now. This is the most critical point of the lap right here. It's the braking and turn-in for the final corner. The sooner you get that done, the sooner you can get on the throttle, avoid those speed bumps on the exit, and you can carry it all the way through. White flag is out for Leon Bentvelsen, and they're almost going into pit lane to try and break the draft. Never seen anyone do that before, but the white flag is indeed out, so this is where the moves need to be made.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit of the journey. It's going to be now or never. Actually, no, that's Bon Jovi. I do apologize. That was contact there by Rajasekaran on Visser. Definitely a little bit of a bumper. Look right behind. Cairo ends managed to get up on the inside there of Garrett Lund. You see 2 battles happening side by side. The pair of cars, almost 3 sets of cars going for it. It's going to be Ends there. He's on the outside and actually runs over and gets a little bit of curb. Hopefully not a slowdown there, but it does look like he's managed to clear the number 30 car of Garrett Lund. As I say that, Visser's managed to hold on against Rajasekaran, but now has Ends breathing up his wing. There's a huge move there by Garrett Lund.
Yeah, but he caught too much curb. That's ruined his momentum off the corner. That's going to allow Matthias Kuhn a chance at getting his way through. Vijay Rajasekaran right on the back of Martin Visser now and dives up the inside at a corner I didn't expect anyone to make moves at. And it looks like Rajasekaran's going to stay behind there. That's ruined his momentum out of the corner. Enns will have a go at him for fourth, and Rajasekaran runs wide. He's going to be out of that podium battle for now. I don't think there's much chance of making a move up the inside unless Cairo Enns slides wide. Goodness me, what a fight this is for all the spots off the podium. We got cars everywhere. See Garrett Lund making the move again on Matthias Kuhn. But up the front, Leon Bentvelsen, his name was up in lights on the signs, and now there's going to have some extra meaning to that. He takes the win at Fuji for race 1. Hendricks gets second, and Visser finishes on the podium. Rajasekaran just beating Cairo Enns to the line.
Well, it's almost like it was a formation flying team there as they came up and over the line. Absolutely fantastic racing, ladies and gentlemen. So we had the Congo, we had indeed a little bit of acrobatics almost in places there. What an absolutely fantastic race. Brian Lenz there, definitely not the race he was looking for, dropped 12 spots. Jamie Childers as well, he got caught up in a little bit of action. Kevin Adrian as well, they definitely, I think they do have a fast repair. I think we were running on some outdated information, because if not, I'm impressed that they got that car going that quickly. It does show that he is indeed still on the lead lap, so fair play Kevin Adrian. Hopefully he can have a better run in race 2.
Yeah. So it looks like, well, we're hearing from our producer Rob Campbell, it takes about 8 seconds to put a new nose cone on one of these cars, so looks like the pit stop time makes sense in that context. Kevin Adrian, though, out to the line, and we'll be hoping for a lot better in this second race coming up, which, reminder, random invert for this one, and it looks like the invert is going to be 6 from what I can see. So that 6th place finisher of Matthias Kuhn is going to start on pole for race 2. But those are your results. Bentvelsen, Hendricks, and Visser are your podium, with Rajasekaran, Enns, Kuhn, Lund, Alishahi, Prechuk, and Mika rounding out your top 10. Good run from Adam Mika. A very quiet race to get into 10th place. But Matthias Kuhn gets pole position for race 2. Cairo Enns joins him on the front row. Rajasekaran and Visser on your second row, with Hendricks and Bentvelsen rounding out your top 6. From there, it's where they finished in race 1. Lund, Alishahi, Prechuk, and Mika round out your top 10.
Let's have a look at P11. Team Raccoon Racing, ladies and gentlemen. Marco should kind of got to talk to this guy at some point. I love raccoons. I think they're cute and adorable, and the little cute trash pandas as well. As you see, P12 is going to be Simon Collier as we head back to P13 with my producer giggling in my ear, bless him. With Mahid Rahman is going to be there alongside Declan Marsden. He's making a good recovery through the field there. Brian Lenz, he's got a lot to play for in race 2, with Jeremy Childers alongside. John Morandini is going to be in on the action as well, alongside Kevin Adrian, Yifan Chow, and indeed Brian Lockwood. Definitely a couple of drivers, actually, if I have a quick look back there. P14 to 20, all looking to make a bit of a recovery here in race 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers who would have been in contention for a top 10 if it weren't for those shenanigans on the first lap. The biggest loser of the field, it looks like, is Mahid Rahman, who started second, but that spin out of the final corner really hurt his first race. Going to be starting in 13th for this one. Brian Lenz as well, going for a spin too, down from 3rd to 15th. He'll be wanting to make up that time himself. Biggest gainers in the field, I'm looking through, and it looks like Marco Chacon starting 17th, finishing 11th, and up from 8th to 4th for Vijay Rajasekaran. I think those are the biggest sort of margins that we're seeing for drivers who've had a good race thus far.
Yeah, certainly there's going to be a lot to play for. Let's talk technique and strategy here, Reece. Certainly, you got to ask yourself, what's going to be the way to do this? Do you want to defend and potentially lose the car ahead of you? Or, you know, do you want to just try and stay in line and just try and pull away? Certainly, we have seen it here a good couple of times. If a car is able to get loose, pretty much that's it. They check out and they run away with it. And certainly that's exactly what Bentvelsen did. We've seen Vijay Rajasekaran do that a couple of times last week as well. But certainly we got Jake Enns in the chat. He says that, you know, Cairo certainly knows how to play defense. He's right, he does, but he's hoping he doesn't have to. P1 is.
Absolutely. You know, I'm thinking if I was in a position similar to one of these drivers, if I was in a pack of slipstreaming cars, or if I was leading a pack of slipstreaming cars and a guy made a move on me into turn 1, I just let him have it, because then I could take his slipstream and, you know, the final laps obviously have a lot going for them. You can dive up the inside, try and consolidate your position, but if you keep your wits about you, you will pass and you will succeed. Well, here we go then. Getting ready for the call to the green flag. Revs rise. Lights up. And we are away again. Little puff of smoke from the third place starter of Vijay Rajasekaran. He spun the wheels nicely, got a good start, but it's not quite enough to pass. Cairo Enns, who goes for a deep dive into turn 1. I think he missed the braking point there. Washes out wide. Big contact in the back. We've got a car upside down. Looks like it might be Declan Marsden.
Okay, that's definitely going to be a replay job for that one, as Adam Mika does indeed get some street time, albeit not how he was looking for. But right now we return to the lead battle. We see Matthias Kuhns actually make his way up to up onto P1. PJ Rajasekaran, and right behind him, Cairo Enns able to stay on the podium in third place. Sammy Hendricks now getting into a battle side by side with Martin Visser. The previous battle from the last race as well is going to continue here for race 2.
So Matthias Kuhn finds himself in the lead, and Vijay Rajasekaran is trying to gear up a move for the lead. Behind Sammy Hendricks, meanwhile, Bentvelsen and Visser side by side. And wow, that's a great move there from Leon Bentvelsen round the outside of that corner. I didn't think I'd see that.
Yeah, Leon Bentvelsen definitely, he's just renewed the contract, because we've got another car span further back. I did see a couple of orange wheels. I got a feeling it may be Mahid Rahman, but don't quote me on that yet. See Brian Lockwood, he's made his way up all the way. No, I thought they're going 3 wide for a second. They almost are. And so making their way down towards the closing stages of this lap. But I've got to say, I did just notice something as well. The Dutch drivers, Leon Bentvelsen and indeed Martin Visser, both of them running the orange wheels. A little bit of a tell there.
Yep. Prep for orange supremacy, but right now it's blue supremacy with Rajasekaran getting up the inside of Matthias Kuhn, and Cairo Enns now has another go at Visser into turn 1, this time for second. Manages to brake at the right point this time, and unfortunately it doesn't quite work out for him. He's going to have to wait behind a few more corners for the next real move, but one mistake out of turn 3, and that can define your entire lap. Those curbs are absolutely brutal around here. Keep an eye out into turn 6, and he dives up the inside. You can tell that Enns is really confident on the brakes for sure.
Yeah, certainly, and at this point you got to wonder as well, what's going to be the play? Are you going to try and tuck in line, try and pull away, try to protect your position, or indeed are you going to fight anybody who comes to challenge you? Certainly, yeah, Rajasekaran, I had a feeling he'd be a threat. He managed to make his way to the front of the grid. See Enns getting a little bit of an off track there, but thankfully able to keep that car going. Bentvelsen right behind him, looks like he's closing in pretty hard. Are we going to see a move from Bentvelsen, almost grazing those sausage curbs there? Definitely flirting with them, and at that point I think they're ready for them to buy him a drink.
Yeah, for sure. Leon Bentvelsen has shown his mastery of Fuji already today, and he opts for a nice clean exit from the final corner, getting a bit of pressure from Sammy Hendricks, and the snake comes to the fore. Vijay Rajasekaran now half a second ahead of Matthias Kuhn, so doesn't look like too much of a move to be made into turn 1 for the lead, but there could be a move for 4th here. Bentvelsen now dealing with Hendricks right in his rearview mirrors, but Sammy not going for the move at turn 1. I think, he almost ran into the back of Leon, but I think that's a wise decision at this point. He knows that Bentvelsen is the fastest driver here today, so he might as well sit in his wheel tracks, get the slipstream, and then maybe have a go at the podium himself from there.
Yeah, certainly, and I'm yet to see a car yet that Sammy Hendricks will not try and bump draft in. So I was starting to wonder if he was, eyeing it up. He got the crosshair out, was just ready to give Bentvelsen a little bit of a nudge further up the track. But you got to say that he's making some good moves. He's having a good day. As Matthias Kuhn, currently resting in P2, starting to lose a bit of pace here behind Rajasekaran, who's pulled away a 7/10 of a second gap.
Yeah, looks like Vijay, once he gets into the lead, is not to be denied. Off into the grass for Bentvelsen there. That's made him lose touch with the top 3 ever so slightly. But I think he'll be able to get that back together nicely. Looking a bit further down, well, Lockwood has made his way up to 10th, and he's catching up to Alashahi and Prechuk for P8. And there's some good battling going on behind him as well. Brian Lenz here on the recovery from race 1, but not having a great deal of success moving forward. Let's see if he can finally find his way past Yifan Chow here, and the move is made. Lenz there with the slipstream from Simon Collier, and that's the big advantage he needs. But look at the number 2 creeping up, John Morandini, who's already suffered a spin in this race, I believe, from lap 1, has to back out as the 2 fight ahead of him.
Yeah, certainly for a second there. That's why what I really like about a lot of the racing. I tend to kind of enjoy doing a move like that with lap traffic, because you can literally box your opponent in and give them nowhere to go. But this is the hottest battle on track right now, as they are really using every inch of it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Lenz going toe-to-toe there with John Morandini and indeed Yifan Chow.
Yeah, view back from the number 19, and that's a deep run into turn 6 there for Brian, and unfortunately he's missed the apex by a country mile. That has cost him about half a second, I think. Further up the front, Cairo Enns has found his way past Matthias Kuhn, and Matthias has run wide. The grass lining the track here at Fuji means that is a huge penalty for that mistake. He's fallen all the way back to P7.
He took a little bit of a scenic route, Reese. What can I say? Fair play to him. He wanted to take in some of the beautiful mountain views we got here at Mount Fuji. Let's take a quick look at the replay at the start. I was actually hoping this would come up. See, we're keeping an eye here on Declan Marsden, the number 20 car. A little bit of a late joiner here. Let's find out exactly what happened. There's a big lock up there. And how do you like your eggs, Reese? Because in this case, the car was indeed sunny side up.
Yeah, that involved Kevin Adrian and Adam Mika, and well, Marsden hasn't made it back onto the track, but Mika has, Adrian has, so has Mahid Rahman. So fortunately, most of the drivers who were affected by that incident can continue on, albeit at the back of the field. It all comes from just getting on the brakes a little bit too late into that first turn. Here is how Matthias Kuhn lost P3, little bit too wide on the way out of the corner. We've seen drivers pull off getting onto the grass before, but it just seems like Kuhn maybe had a bit of oversteer in the car he was trying to correct, and he missed that painted green verge that would have allowed him to get back onto the track cleanly.
Definitely not what he had in mind, but right now this is exactly what's in mind for the number 332, the Canadian driver of Cairo Enns. But right now he has the Dutchman, the crowd favourite, ladies and gentlemen, of indeed Leon Bentbels. And I say crowd favourite, that crowd actually being a little bit quiet right now. Orem, Esper, you guys are usually making a little bit more noise. I'm wondering if you guys are still here at this point. But right now, Bentbels, he has indeed renewed the sponsorship deal with Fuji. The paperwork is signed, but can he deliver on his promises to get a not just another podium, but potentially a P2? At this point, Raja Sakaran is almost 2.5 seconds up and away and in the lead.
Yeah, setting 1 minute 30.9s up the front as well as VJ. This is, I think, typical of a driver like Rajaseka, and they get out in front, they just focus. It's just them and the track, and they're able to set blistering times. There goes Bentvelsen up the inside of Enns at turn 1, up into P2 for the number 23. Is there any cutback from Enns? There was an attempt, but it doesn't look like he quite has the momentum to get up the inside for turn 3. Leon's going to go preemptively defensive, but is able to take the racing line on the way in. Clean run out of the corner as well. Now Cairo has to start looking in his mirrors, because Hendricks and Lund are right with him.
He's been on some really good form today. Certainly he's managed to get a podium earlier on. Garrett Lund as well, having a good race. Certainly I felt for the last season we did, I honestly felt he was maybe the most unluckiest driver on the grid regularly. Getting into a couple of incidents there. At this point I feel Kevin Adrian's got that title for him, poor guy. And having raced with Kevin Adrian, I know he's a clean racer as well, so certainly it's definitely unfortunate for him. I'm hoping his luck can indeed change. As right now, we see Brian Lenz going into the battles again, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get screen time, this is the way to do it. It's not about necessarily being in the lead. It's about delivering the actions. He goes for a move up on the inside. I gotta say, that was baller, but it looks like it's actually paid off.
Nice opportunistic move there on Yifan Chow. Carries a bit more speed into the left-hander. Outside run has a straighter exit. And Yifan, I think, having some technical problems there. Oh, that's not going to inspire any confidence. And Simon Collier and Morandini's been hooked up in that somehow. Bit of a spin at the final corner. And that's going to be the end of that fight for him. Collier then. Oh, hello. That's a bit slow there for one car at least. Let's see what happened to Morandini here. Was this all by himself? Oh, it was. Yeah, that's a shame. You know, for corners like that, you're braking and turning at the same time. You're trying to trail the brakes for the rotation into the corner, and it's very easy to lose the rear in that circumstance.
Not only that, you're relying on the downforce a lot as well, races. Brian Lockwood, he's having a good race. Currently the hard charger in this scenario, up 11 spots from where he started, and fair play to him, he's looking pretty quick. And not only that, I'm absolutely, it would be my second favorite paint job on these cars. Obviously, we know which one is the first, but the gold paint looking fantastic, exclusively reserved for the Almeida Racing League management.
Yeah, you certainly can't miss him. So Lockwood gearing up for a potential move on Mikhail Prechuk there. Garrett Lund we return to in 5th place. Got Martin Visser right behind him. Cairo Ends up ahead. This battle is showing no signs of cooling down. Ben Velsen has made up some time and put 1.2 seconds in between himself and Hendricks. So now it's a 5-car fight for the last spot on the podium.
I do have to wonder, there's about 4 minutes left of this race. Is Ben Velsen going to be able to catch up to Raja Sakran? If I have a look at the last laps, Raja Sakran's just done the best one of the thing. And looking at this, but currently, I'm going to say he's probably not going to catch him. He's about 4 tenths clear. Raja Sakran's just getting faster and faster. So now for Ben Velsen, the task is indeed going to be, can he hold off the 2 drivers behind him? As we see Cairo Ends and Sammy Hendricks now getting into a scrap for P3.
Oh, Cairo Ends with a great run around the outside of turn 1 there. Hendricks can just about see the opportunity for defending the outside at turn 4, but it's not going to happen for him. Turn 3, sorry. Cairo Ends then up into 3rd place, and quite convincingly. Let's see if Hendricks can keep the momentum up, stay in his wheel tracks, and let's see if Ends can avoid running too far over that curb. We've seen at least one driver fall victim to it today.
Yeah, certainly it's probably one of the biggest things about Fuji. You've got to use the curb, but you can't get too greedy with it. And certainly we've seen the grass there in particular. One of the drivers did indeed get caught up with that. I believe that was Matthias Kuhn who got caught with that earlier. But right now Hendricks is on the attack. He's trying to make his way up onto the podium.
Seeing that Mahid Rahman has towed back to pit lane. A very tough race for the number 5. Adam Mika has gone back into the pits as well and sees no sign of coming out. This is what happened to Rahman. Looks like just running deep off, that's on the run into turn 6 actually. It looks like he just called it a day there and is out of race 2. Hopefully he takes to the start of race 3. We've only got 2 laps to go for our leader, and the battle for P3 is still not over. Sammy Hendricks slingshotting past Cairo Ends into the braking zone, almost gets past and makes contact, and Cairo Ends gets a T-bone. That's what you'd like on your plate at a restaurant, but certainly not in turn 1 at Fuji.
Yeah, I'm not much of a T-bone guy. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy steak, but regardless, it's a meal he didn't order, and I think that one's going to get sent back to the restaurant. He's just gone wide.
That was Kuhn.
Damn.
That was Matthias Kuhn. Goodness me, that was massive.
I think a replay. There we go. Thank you, Rob. we're just unfair. Let's see exactly what happened to the 09 car of Matthias Kuhn. You see there, gets a little bit loose on the exit and just gets a bit of a spin. Thankfully, able to keep it away from the wall. Definitely going to be a little bit of heat in those tyres, but he was able to keep that car going. But now Sammy Hendricks, he's up into P3. He's managed to get a podium already today. Can he keep it going, ladies and gentlemen? He did P2 in race 1. Can he do a P3 now? Ben Velsen is about 1.7 seconds up the road. Garrett Lund's behind him. Cairo Ends sadly dropped back down into 7th place. But not only that, he has Lockwood ahead of him. Are we going to see Ends now try and take on one of the Almeida Racing League coaches?
Yeah, this is the question. Will we be able to see any big moves here for Brian Lockwood and Cairo Ends? White flag is out for Vijay Rajasekaran and Leon Bentvelsen. Goodness me, that is a huge gap that Rajasekaran's pulled off there. 3 seconds across the line. And here's another move. Martin Visser and Garrett Lund. Up the inside goes the Dutchman. But Lund holding strong around the outside there. Has to take to the curb, and he'll be able to stay alongside into turn 3.
Certainly, it was indeed a fantastic move there, as we actually have Dutch drivers in P2 and indeed P5. So not only do we have maybe a little bit of allegiance here between team members, but we also have between countrymen. Certainly, the patriotism here is absolutely fantastic stuff there. As we see, Jeremy Childers now currently resting in P10, the American driver, ladies and gentlemen. Can he make his way past Michael Prechuk and move his way up into P9?
Yeah, this is the idea for Jeremy Childers. I mean, he sees them all battling ahead of him. He wants those moves to be made in the final sector, but whether or not it'll happen remains to be seen. Last couple of corners for our leader as Martin Visser continues to try and fight with Garrett Lund for 4th place, but our podium is effectively locked in. Lovely exit for Vijay Rajasekaran, and he's going to take victory in race 2. Fantastic job from the number 12 car. Leon Bentvelsen backing up his race 1 victory with a solid 2nd in race 2.
Questions in the chat as well. These are indeed Formula 3 cars, and the other splits are going to be held back for Garrett Lund now. Drag race there with Martin Visser. It looks like Visser is going to get him at the line. Brian Lockwood comes down at P6. Another battle happening there between Amin Al-Shai. Oh, fantastic stuff. Almost a formation as they come down across the line. I think definitely unfortunate here. Let's find out what happened to Cairo and Thank you, Rob. And we were trying to work out, see exactly what happened. So you see he's there on the outside. And it just looks like he gets tagged there a little bit. Maybe it's Tammy Hendricks running a little bit wide there. We definitely need to review it a little bit more in depth. But definitely a little bit unfortunate there as they now enter the warm-up. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at our race results from Heat 2.
Yep, Bentvelsen and Hendricks, your top 2. No, sorry, that's not right. Those are the results from race 1, are they not? Rajasekaran taking victory in race 2 here. I believe, yeah, there we go. Those are the right results. 3.5 seconds, the gap for Vijay Rajasekaran, with Bentvelsen and Hendricks completing the podium. London Visser round out your top 5, with Brian Lockwood finishing ahead of Cairo Enns, who, you know, looked like he committed to the turn in for turn 1 when Hendricks was still alongside. Amin Al-Shahi, Mikhail Prechuk, they round out your top 9, with Jeremy Childers in 10th, Marco Chacon another 11th place, with Brian Lenz recovering to P12, Matthias Kuhn, that spin in the final laps, putting all the way back to 13th. Could have been a great result for him. Collier, Adrian, Chow, and Morandini are your finishers. Mahid Rahman, Adam Mika, and Declan Marsden did not make it to the finish. A shame for them, but they have one more race to come. Before we get into that race, here's a word from Suelio Almeida.
The Almeida Racing League is growing fast. Hundreds of drivers, multiple splits, broadcasted races, and it's not just about individual winning, it's a team championship. You race with your own squad, you learn how to compete, and you grow together. And we don't throw you into the races blindly. Every week, we help you prepare with pit parties to train side-by-side battles, workshops with live coaching, 20 driving challenges with full tutorials, and even group raids into official iRacing races after the league night. For just $25 a month, this is the most complete training experience in sim racing. Join us as a member today to start your advanced training and racing with us. I'll see you on track.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, if you would like to be part of this league, you do have to be a member. You've got to join the Almeida Racing Academy. So definitely some fun stuff indeed, as we're going to bring this down to the final race of the afternoon, after the morning, or indeed after the evening, ladies and gentlemen, as we see the beautiful views of Mount Fuji in the background. Jeremy Childers right now, he's one of the few out on track. Looks like Declan Marsden is as well. But while we're taking a little bit of a look from our blimp cam, it appears the stands are quite full. We've got a lot of vehicles here with the driver of the 1997 Toyota Corolla. You've left your lights on if you'd just like to go and attend to that.
Yeah, indeed. There's probably a couple of Sylvias in there as well. Fuji, of course, a legendary Japanese circuit. And I suppose this is a good time while we're in this lull for me to give you a couple of track facts. So have a look in the top left of the feed at the moment. You see that little strip of tarmac just in front of the trees? That is the old turn 1 of this circuit. Fuji Speedway was set up originally to be built as a speedway, a high-speed banked oval. It was set up by the Japan NASCAR Corporation in 1960-something. But then I believe it was Sterling Moss who tested at the venue, and he told them, look, the terrain is a bit too mountainous to get a speedway actually going here, and they were running out of money by that point anyway, so they decided we'll just keep that first banking and build a road course. It was a bit of a loop around before it rejoined the current circuit around about the turn 3 area, and that is basically the original incarnation of Fuji Speedway.
I gotta admit, that's pretty cool. And actually, one of the things I don't think we've ever talked about on a broadcast is with this being in the mountainous region, I do wonder just how far the sound will carry. Can you imagine that if you lived in the valley of Mount Fuji? But certainly, this takes us a little bit off topic, but it's related to the point I'm making. Is I'm going to actually give a shout out to Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is going to make no sense to a lot of people, but basically the reason I'm giving a shout out to Ohio is they recently put in legislation to say that if you basically build a house near a racetrack and then complain about said racetrack, you can go and pound sand. And for that, I salute you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ohio.
Yeah.
Setting the standard.
I've got to admit, I don't say this often, but at this point, I do believe we can learn from our neighbours in this case, and say that is a lesson that we should indeed practice here, not just in Canada, but across the world, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, racetracks are indeed a dying breed. And I was actually thinking about earlier, you could do golf instead.
Yeah,
or not.
You could.
Or not. No, this is way more fun.
Yeah, it certainly is. Oh, man. Well, that looks like it's going to be the end of warm-up, and we have a couple of cars attempting to make it to the line. They're unsuccessful. They are immediately kicked to the Shadow Realm and warped back to the pits, which must not be a very pleasant physical experience for the driver. Well, here comes race 3. 20 minutes on the cards for this one, and Rajasekaran's on pole with Bentvelsen alongside. Hendricks and Lund on row 2 with Visser and Lockwood row 3. I think Lockwood will fall to the back, as the coaches tend to do in this league. Cairo Inns and Amin Al-Shahi with Mijal Prechuk and Jeremy Childers rounding out your top 10.
Look at P11. It's my favorite team name, ladies and gentlemen. Team Raccoon Racing, the Trash Panda, adorable. He's going to have to put... Oh, he can't... I was going to say he can't adjust the paint, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to see some raccoons on that car. He's there in P11 with Brian Lenz alongside in P12. As we have a look a bit further back, we've got Matthias Kuhn, a little bit unlucky there for the German driver. He's dropped back with Simon Collier in P14. Kevin Adrian looking for a recovery here in P15 with Yifan Chow. John Morandini takes 17th with Mahid Rahman in 18th. Adam Mika shows in 19th with Declan Marston closing out your 20-car grid.
And it looks like they're already on the revs here, just in time for us to get through the grid. Bentvelsen versus Rajasekaran on the front row, and immediately VJ defensive towards turn 1. That is the most aggressive move to the inside I've ever seen off a grid from a standing start. Well, VJ's going to keep it into turn 1 with a little bit of a slide. Bentvelsen going to stay right behind him. A well-executed start from them, and it looks like everyone's managed to make it through turn 1 cleanly this time. Nice to see.
Yeah, it looks like the majority of the field is trying to get there into single file. Brian Lockwood did indeed start from his P6 there, so looking to try and maybe take a podium. Perhaps he's going to have to fight through another 4 drivers if he wants to take those honors, ladies and gentlemen, and take the top spot. But right now, one of the drivers I was going to say keep an eye on is indeed going to be Kyra Ensis in P7. He's managed to hold on to that so far. Is Yifan Chow, he's got caught up in incidents earlier, had a great battle with Brian Lenz before. Is he going to be able to make his way up into the top 10?
Just noticed Morandini back there as well has lost his nose cone. It looks like he accidentally ran into the back of Mahid Rahman on the way into turn 6. Oh, okay. Big moves starting to happen here.
Yeah, somebody just went very deep into that. That's going to be a replay. Oh, there's still bits ricocheting in behind as a questionable rejoin there from, I believe that may have been Morandini. And I see not 1, not 2, but 3 cars with damage there. Definitely chaos, panic, and disorder. Who let me out on track?
Indeed. Well, Matthias Kuhn has lost his rear wing there, and it looks like that might have been the move that you were talking about. Yifan Chow ran right into the back of Matthias Kuhn, and that was the moment of exclamation for you, Zippy. But into turn 1, looks like Sammy Hendricks is making his case for a race win here, passing Leon Benfelsen.
Yeah, certainly Sammy Hendricks has had really, really good form here at Fuji, as has Benfelsen. Don't get me wrong, Hendricks, he's potent, but he's not managed to sign a deal with the track yet. But I say Leon, the only one I've ever seen do that here in the iRacing side of things. But right now, Raja Sakaran is going to be looking to try and extend that gap again. We've seen him do it before, not just here, but last week as well. He's been incredibly potent, ladies and gentlemen, but can he pull away? I do have to wonder, is Hendricks going to be a wingman for him? Is he going to be the goose to his Maverick and try and close off that gap?
This is the question. It's a longer race, affords you a few extra laps to set things up, but you got to make sure that the leader doesn't get away. And Vijay Rajasekaran has proved that he's very good at getting away once he's in the lead. Consistency is key around a track like this, with so many corners that can throw you off in quick succession, especially here in the final sector. On board with Benfelsen, look out for the white marker there on the right there. That is the late apex for the final corner, or at least that's the reference point that drivers seem to use. So here they come down the start-finish straight, already trying to break the draft, but looks like Hendricks and Benfelsen don't want to play that game anymore. Neither does Rajasekaran. Across the line they come, and not close enough for any moves, but Mikhail Prechuk and Marco Chacon have just made a move on Amin Alashahi, and Prechuk falling back as well. They're 4 wide on the way into turn 1. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Get it in there, guys. Okay, they made it through clean.
That went surprisingly well.
Yeah. Oh, I thought for sure there was going to be an incident there, but they managed to pull it off, and Brian Lenz is going to jet away from all that. He doesn't want any part of that business. Up the inside, Mahid Rahman on Mikhail Prechuk, and he'll get the move done. Long recovery ahead for Mahid, though. He has not had the results he's wanted from tonight. Remember, he qualified in second for race 1, and he has yet to even see a top 10 tonight.
Yeah, definitely a rough race for him, but right now he's under some pressure there from the Polish driver, Michael Prechuk, as the door very firmly closed there. Can't keep it going. Cuts to the grass a little bit, as it does one of the drivers behind. I believe that was Kevin Adrian, taking a little bit of the scenic route there as he continues to try and fight back with Simon Collier. I believe these guys have actually been having a good bit of a battle throughout the season, actually, Collier and Adrian. But right now we're going to return up to Michael Prechuk. We're going to try and make a move on one of the former winners of the Almeida Racing Academy.
Yes, indeed. Rahman has a lot of form to back himself up, but he doesn't seem that comfortable at Fuji today. Here comes Brian Lockwood, meanwhile, up into 4th on Garrett Lund. It looks like Lockwood decided not to take to the rear of the grid for the final race. Let's see how much he can mix it up here with the top 3. You know, watching Lockwood and the other coaches drive, they make it look easy when they make these moves. And I tell you, it is anything but easy. You know, these cars don't have traction control, they don't have anti-lock brakes, they're very stiffly sprung, and they produce enough power to really spin the car around out of slow corners. So being able to pull a move off here at Fuji is a sign of being a skilled driver.
Absolutely, certainly you don't just smash the throttle. You almost just gently layer it on there. It's as if you're spreading some butter on a piece of freshly toasted bread, ladies and gentlemen. You don't just go and, like, you know, flump it on there. You got to spread it out a little bit. And as we see a replay here from Mahid Rahman, I've got to wonder why the Palestine driver, and there's your explanation, gets a little bit of a tank slapper going, goes a little bit too far wide on entry, and that ends up costing him a couple of spots there, puts him back down into P17.
Yeah, turn 6 is so treacherous. You can catch the entry curb, you can catch the apex curb, you can catch the exit curb, and you can also catch the curb and the grass out of that corner as well. And it looks like that's going to end Mahid Rahman's run for now. He is quite a ways behind. Well, here we go then. Fighting hard for second. That's Benfelsen slipstreaming past Hendricks, and can Lockwood potentially get the both of them? No, he's going to stick to trying to pass Hendricks for the moment. See, that's another mark of learned racing ability. You can see the opportunity for 2 moves in one go and not take it. It's usually the wiser option.
That might be where I'm going wrong, Reese. I mean, in the course of many things, certainly myself, I'm not gonna be racing for the next week for sure. We've established that. But right now, Brian Lockwood has managed to make his way up into P3 as the battle is emerging back there for P12, ladies and gentlemen. It's between Michael Prechuk and the P11, Amin Alishai.
Yes, Amin into turn 6 then. They all avoid the death curbs, but that's a bit of a slide on the exit of the corner for Amin. He'll lose a tiny bit of momentum here coming down the hill. And we'll see if there's any mistakes here on the exit of the right-hander here. So easy to run into the grass. The curb is brutal at the apex. It can absolutely send you off. But they all make it through cleanly for now. Yifan Chow looks like retiring from the race as a result of his problems. So we've already lost one driver from this final race of the day. Bent Velzen, meanwhile, seeing a whole lot of gold in his mirrors.
Yeah, certainly if you've got one of the coaches behind you, you've got to decide how hard you want to fight. Now, you can do the whole approach of, you know what, I reckon I'm quicker than the guy. You know what, I want to fight the guy. But I think, honestly, Bent Velzen's going to tuck right behind him and try and use the Lockwood to try and stay with Roger Sakaran and potentially move as well up ahead of him.
Yeah, I think this is actually a blessing in disguise for Bent Velzen and Hendricks, because if Lockwood wasn't there, then Rajasekaran would just be driving away from them at this point. He did that in race 2. He's doing it now, but Lockwood is evidently quicker than VJ. If they can use the slipstream of Lockwood to find their way past Rajasekaran, that is a successful race 3 for Bent Velzen and Hendricks. Look at the lap times here. Lockwood has been running consistently a couple of tenths faster than Rajasekaran over quite a few laps. So that is something to put a pin in. Looks like Marco Chacon has unfortunately had a pin put in his balloon, which has spectacularly popped. He's fallen all the way back to 17th. Looks like an incident in potentially turn 6.
Take a quick look there. There may have indeed been a nice fresh dumpster at the side of the track that had a couple of goodies in there, and the Team Raccoon wanted to get in on that, as they're doing exactly the same thing as Mahid Rahman, but I've got to say, doing it in a little bit more class with that British Racing green paint.
Yeah, indeed. It was a nice stop there from him as well. Well, Rajasekaran knows that he's going to have all these guys lining up for him, but Bent Velzen thinks, oh, I might go past Lockwood into turn 1. You know what? Lockwood, I think, lifted a little, let him go there. Maybe they're going to try and help each other out here. Bent Velzen leads one lap, Lockwood leads the next. They both get the slipstream. They both vault forward. Will that be successful?
I believe the game is called Leapfrog, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that's exactly what's going on. See Bent Velzen doing almost 130 mile an hour there at portions of the track. Fantastic stuff there. But are we going to see this technique play off? Because right now, Vijay Rajasekaran has pulled away nearly 9/10 of a second, despite the team antics between Bent Velzen and Lockwood. Is it going to be enough to catch up to the number 12 car?
Yeah, they haven't made up much momentum on Rajasekaran this lap, and they're all keeping it reasonably within the margins of the track. Still 10 minutes remaining in this race. Still plenty of time for things to change.
As I say that, the new fastest lap has just actually been set by Mahid Rahman. He's just gone and hit the 130.8, and it looks like he may be able to battle Kevin Adrian as well, as side by side they go. Absolutely fantastic stuff further back in the field.
Yeah, here's Kevin Adrian, has to yield on the way into Mahid Rahman. And now Rahman will turn his attentions forward. This 4-car pack ahead of him, Alishahi, Marsden, Prechuk, and Collier. Leading the pack is Amin Alishahi. And on board here with Mahid Rahman, we can see, you know, where the slipstream really comes in, about 1 to 1.5 seconds back in these cars. It's side by side between Marsden and Alishahi, and Declan tries going around the outside of turn 1. Prechuk defending the outside from Simon Collier there, and well, they'll work themselves out into turn 2. Bit of a mirror image there of the blue and green cars on their way to the apex.
thought I was having a little bit of a psychedelic moment perhaps, but that is indeed the standings it stands so far. We've got blue, green, blue, green. It's Marsden, Alashai, Prechuk, and then Collier in the battle for P10. And I can tell you as well that Brian Lockwood did indeed pass back by Leon Bentvelsen on the straight, but despite that, Rajasekaran has pulled away another 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, Rajasekaran is still setting fantastic lap times. 1 minute 30.885, but it didn't officially count that lap because I think because he got an off track potentially. Not too sure on that front, but what is for sure is that Rajasekaran in clear air is faster than either Lockwood or Bentvelsen can manage in the slipstream.
I've got to wonder as well, are these guys actually slowing each other up? We got Kane in the chat saying have to risk bump draft. I'm all for it, Kane. I'd like to see that. Sammy Hendrick, here's your cue. The coach has said you got to go for it. Let's see you start bump drafting if you can indeed catch up to the back of this battle of B2. As side by side goes Collier, and I believe that is indeed Adam Mika.
Yeah, Adam Mika joining the party at the back of this one, trying to find his way past Kevin Adrian. Mahid Rahman at the front of that little mini pack there, trying to catch up to Prechuk, Alishahi, and Marsden. But you can tell that because it's the final. Whoa, okay. Adam Mika runs very wide there. Has to let Kevin Adrian go. What I'm noticing about the racing in this final race is, you know, they've had the experience of, oh God, okay, that's a bit into the grass for Lockwood. They're taking things a little easier, it feels like, compared to races 1 and 2. The first 2 races were frenetic, but this one being longer and I think with a bit more experience from the drivers has resulted in a bit slower action for this race, but the drivers are making their cases a bit more clearly here, which I like to see.
I'm starting to have suspicions here. I'm not so sure that Bentvelsen and Lockwood are indeed looking to try and team up. I have a feeling that Bentvelsen is literally giving Lockwood as hard a time as he possibly can now. Are we going to see Lockwood try and make a move up on the inside? I think he thought about it, decided, no, I'm not close enough. I'm going to go for the lift. Don't get me wrong, he could have gone for it. He could have put a nose in, but that will then open them up to Sammy Hendricks, who's just 1.4 seconds behind.
Yeah, but that's on the verge of being outside slipstream range, so Hendricks needs to gain a few more tenths on this lap to really keep up with them at this point. And Garrett Lund is searching for something here as well. Lund's had a good night so far, a 7th and a 4th so far, and could be looking at another top 5. We'll turn our attention back to Adam Mika, though, for the time being. Kevin Adrian is still involved very heavily in this battle with the number 4, and they're starting to lose touch with Mahid Rahman and Simon Collier up ahead, so they might be keeping each other company for the next 5 minutes.
Certainly, they are indeed hanging out pretty closely at this point. I do wonder if they're going to have to buy each other a pint, and a pint of fruit juice, ladies and gentlemen, just in case we can't mention any other kind of beverages here. But we do have a question in the chat thinking, basically, can we get a bump draft explanation? Absolutely we can. So basically what we're saying here right now is, obviously you got drafting, but basically right now you can see here Leon Bentvelsen punching a very nice hole in the air for Brian Lockwood, who's right behind him. Now bump drafting, that's a little bit different. That means that Brian Lockwood is literally going to come up behind in that case and would push the car ahead along. So instead of going around them, you push them along. It's kind of like if you see like locomotives and trains, you sometimes have 1 or 2, even 3 trains pulling, let's say, a bunch of cars. Same idea, ladies and gentlemen, same idea.
Yeah, so you're giving some assistance to the driver in front by bumping them along. It works a lot better in stock cars and other closed wheel machines. You don't often see it in open wheelers because, you know, you've got the rear crash structure, the gearbox going right up against a nose cone that is designed to easily shatter in a crash situation. So it's playing with fire a little bit in these Formula 3s, but wouldn't put it past a few of these drivers to try something like that. Alishahi, meanwhile, 10th place for the moment, but Declan Marsden wants to take that away from him.
Yeah, Marsden looking to try and make a recovery. As I say, that gets a huge tank slapper going. Great catch, but definitely a brown flag moment there for the Welsh driver in the number 20 machine.
Whew, had to take a deep breath after that one. Yeah, one other thing that you often see in these open wheel cars is that, you know, they're a lot snappier than other kinds of racing machine, and so the saves that you see in these things are often quite spectacular. Kevin Adrian, meanwhile, seems to have suffered an issue. Is he? Oh, he just caught the grass on the exit of the curb and round he went. Yeah, once you lose grip in these things, it's very difficult to recover.
Yeah, definitely. The limit is indeed. It's like walking a tightrope, ladies and gentlemen. You see these guys. Somebody's just ducked up into the pits there.
That's Marsden. Oh, he stopped. What's going on there for Declan Marsden? A black flag. Looks like he might have either he sped on pit lane just then, or he'd already breached the incident limit, and that would have been the end of his race regardless. So unfortunate there for Declan Marsden. We're not going to see any more of him here tonight, but Vijay Rajasekaran we're going to be seeing plenty more of over the next 2.5 minutes as he tries to keep Brian Lockwood behind him. Lockwood holds the fastest lap of the race, and he is pursuing. He is within a second.
And I can see here, we're just answering a question. Yes, in the draft, your engine would indeed heat up quicker. Would your tires wear quicker? I'd say probably not. It's
No.
not on the straightaway. Certainly, it's more of a, you know, almost like a bobsled. You kind of tucked in behind it. You're just trying to be as smooth as aerodynamic as possible. And if you hit your top speed, for example, the car has no more power. It can't go any faster. Then all of a sudden, getting a little bit of a bump behind you pushes you faster, and then both of you go quicker as well. In comparison to if you think of something like a Formula V, for example, if you pull out of that draft, the car literally slows down because it does not have the power to sustain the speed. So that's a little bit of an explanation there on bump drafting. When it comes to NASCAR as well, bump drafting is very much encouraged, ladies and gentlemen, and pretty much if you don't do it, you're going to have very limited success. That's how they reach such incredible high speeds, all about aerodynamics. Not only that, the cars do indeed have almost like a push bar built into them. The Legends car especially, very enjoyable to bump draft on those.
Yeah, another thing that you could do is tandem draft, which is sort of like bump drafting, but not, as Pretchuk has a look at Mahir Rahman into turn 3. Oh, they make contact on the way out of the corner, but they both make it out. Lovely stuff. Great action. I don't know how happy Rahman will be with that one, but yeah, the other option is tandem drafting, where instead of actually running into the rear bumper of the car in front of you, you just sit just off it. So the way aero and physics basically works is there's a bubble that forms at the front of your car as you rush through the air, because the air can only get out of the way so fast. Sometimes if you try tandem drafting, sitting a little bit back from the car in front, it's actually the air bubble that pushes the car forward. And so you end up getting the same effect of bump drafting, but without actually making contact.
Yeah, I think another good way of explaining it as well is if you try running your hand through water, then you'll feel resistance. So even if you put your hand out the window, right? If you're driving along, put your hand out the window, you can feel the air pushing your arm back. Well, it's the same kind of deal, right? If you tuck in behind something, then you don't have that resistance. So there you go, a little bit of an explanation there for common people in the chat. Definitely, we're happy to. We want you to enjoy the show, and indeed, if you understand what's going on as well, it definitely helps. But generally, we just want you to have a very good time. But right now, we are riding on board with Vijay Rajasekaran, the number 12 car. He had a win last time round. Can he do it again? Certainly in the closing stages of this race, as they have indeed hit that 20-minute marker.
Yep, it is the final lap, and Brian Lockwood still sitting at about 9/10 of a second back. It's proving difficult for him to make those final moves forward, but there's plenty of opportunities in the last sector for things to go wrong. They both hit the curb very nicely on the exit of the right-hander, and Ben Velzen will continue sitting in third very consistently. Looks like there was a problem for Mikhail Pretchuk just now. He's fallen back to 14th, but only one corner to go here for Rajasekaran. He's executed these last two races perfectly and has come storming from a from an 8th place qualifying in race 1 to winning races 2 and 3 on the trot, even when being hounded by one of our coaches. Great job from Vijay Rajasekaran, but a podium in all 3 races today for Leon Bentvelsen. Absolute star drive.
Absolutely, as we see Cairo ends, he was definitely potent today, had a little bit of bad luck, but able to make a good recovery, get a good set of points. Amin Alashai, he's had a pretty neutral race today, good job there by him. Only just joined this season, actually, as we see Adam Mika, who definitely, I think they did a little bit better there in the M2 as well, if my memory serves me correctly. Kevin Adrian there, definitely an open wheel fan, I know, in an F1600. Absolutely lethal, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you get a little bit of rain there. Let's find out what exactly happened to the number 13 car of Michael Prechuk.
So this is on the way into turn 6. Yep. I knew that was going to happen. It's so difficult to line the car up for the braking zone there because you're coming off of turning right through turn 5 as you're doing it. So, you get your trajectory even slightly wrong and you'll run over that curb and the car will get unsettled on the way in. John Morandini then, last finisher across the line for him. Actually, no, it's Matthias Kuhn who's going to be the final finisher here after spending 30 seconds in the pits, getting damage repaired from his unfortunate coming together earlier. And that's going to be 18 cars to the finish for this third race here in the Almeida Racing League at Fuji. So your final results then. Vijay Rajasekaran with a 4th and 2 wins, likely in contention for the round win there, with Brian Lockwood finishing 2nd place ahead of Leon Bentvelsen, 1st, 2nd and 3rd for races 1, 2 and 3. That's almost perfect there for Leon if you like your numbers. Sammy Hendricks, 4th place ahead of Garrett Lund. It was a successful drive for London races 2 and 3, a 4th and a 5th, with Visser, Enns, Childers, Lenz and Alashahi rounding out the top 10.
Okay, we'll look at P11. Mahid Rahman, one of your former champions, took that with Simon Collier in P12. Adam Mika in 13th with Michael Prechuk, sadly falling back to 14th with Kevin Adrian in 15th. The Team Raccoon Racing car, Marco Chacon in 16th with John Morandini in 17th. Matthias Kuhn takes 18th with Declan Marsden and Yifan Chow retiring, hitting 19th and 20th.
Well, that's going to end things off here for the racing portion of the night, and it seems that we have drivers filing in here, and well, Zippy, I'll leave it to you to have a chat to our most winningest driver of the day, Vijay Rajasekaran.
Well, Vijay, can I just get a quick mic check? I see that you've joined, but are you indeed here?
He is muted on Discord, so that is going to be that for now. Hopefully he gets that sorted. Meanwhile, we'll bring Leon Bentvelsen in.
Well, I've got to say, Leon, another great day for you. Multiple podiums and indeed fantastic battles. Tell us a little bit, were you indeed working there with Brian Lockwood, or is that just a little bit of friendly rivalry between yourself and one of the coaches?
Yeah, no, we actually tried to work together a bit, but yeah, that bomb drafting is not my thing, man. Especially with these cars. If Sammy, no problem. But me, not yet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that I'm not the only one who recognizes that Sammy Hendricks will indeed bump draft anything, including a shopping cart. I have a feeling that he would indeed do that, as we do indeed have the crowd favorite in. We've had Aurum in the chat. We've had Hesper in the chat as well. Definitely, it's good to have you here. Definitely a good day for you. Coming into Fuji, you are absolutely incredible on pace. Now, is this on your Princess-approved track list, or did you just find you had a little bit of extra talent here today?
Yeah, these kind of tracks, I really like it. The old school, yeah. I don't know, it just fits for some reason.
Well, Leon, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out for today's performance?
Oh, man, like everybody at the academy, and especially Connor for putting up those great pit parties, really getting us race ready. He's doing an excellent job, like all the coaches, and of course all the students where we are with on track. So yeah, very good racing, guys.
Well, I can let you know that Connor Bell is actually there at Toronto Indy today, and he's actually coaching one of the drivers of one of the Radicals, who last time I checked had just got a P1. So certainly you can see there, Connor Bell able to not just coach in the real world, but in the sim racing world as well on behalf of the Almeida Racing League, indeed the Almeida Academy. But ladies and gentlemen, multiple podiums today. Mr. Leon Bentvelsen, the number 23 car.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great stuff from Leon Bentbelsen today, and it looks like we can finally bring Vijay Rajasekaran into the box with us. Congratulations on the double win there, Vijay. It was a tough job to get to the front, but once you were out, it seemed like everyone was tripping over themselves. Vijay, do we have you?
Ground control to Major Tom.
Unfortunately, no mic for Vijay Rajasekaran. We'll have another go a little bit later, but for now, Cairo Enns joins us, and well, a bit of a varied night for you, Cairo. You ended up getting 3 top 10s for your troubles and in contention for podiums at times, but seems that things just didn't quite go your way on that front.
Yeah, this is actually the first week I've even seen this track, so it's been a bit of a journey to try and learn it. A lot of the crests in the corners makes it very difficult. You have to be incredibly precise, and if you make just the tiniest mistake, you're spinning out, you're in the wall. Thankfully, the workshop this week put on by Brian has helped me out a lot, especially going into turn one. My confidence has gone way up. Yeah, it's just it's been so helpful having those workshops, and especially having this team. We've been putting on some of the pit parties during the week. It's been really great, and I've learned a lot. Even like up through today, I was still learning more about the track, and I must say I enjoy this track quite a bit more than Sebring. So there's that.
Certainly less bumpy for sure, unless you're talking about the curbs. Well, the moves into the opening corner were some of the highlights of the night there. It does require a bit of bravery, though, to get the car slowed down in time, and after such a long straight, it can be very difficult to get your head in that.
Yeah, you have to have some incredibly precise braking points, especially if you have somebody on your inside. You'd be surprised how little the braking reference actually changes. It's a matter of centimeters. There's the one corner with Sammy coming up on my inside. I thought I could hold it on the outside. I braked just 50 centimeters too early, and trying to keep it on the limit, I ended up too narrow, touched his wheel, and that just set me back. What was that, 5 places? That was a bit of a rough one, but yeah, especially with the long straight, it's incredibly difficult to figure out exactly where you want to place the car. Through the week, I was kind of figuring out that I preferred the outside line. I tended to have a little bit more stability, a little bit more consistency out there, and it always set me up for the inside into the following left-hander. So that was my preferred line. I noticed a lot of other people were preferring the inside, and it was really interesting to see how when two of those cars come together, how good the side-by-side action can really be. And yeah, it was a lot of fun this week.
Yeah, we certainly have a bit more of that fun at Algarve next week, and I think that'll be a bit similar to Fuji with a long straight and flowing terrain following bends. Well, Cairo, a great run from you tonight. Anyone you want to thank for your efforts?
Thanks to my dad, my mom for hopping into these shows every week. I love the support; it's awesome. Thanks to the Red Team, Jeremy and Martine. These guys have been very good to race with this week. It's just been absolutely phenomenal being able to pull out a few top tens and taking 6, 7, 8 for the feature. It's been great.
Fantastic job, Cairo. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And it looks like for the final interview of the day, Zippy, you've dragged Sammy Hendricks in here for a chat.
Well, absolutely. I mean, how could we not speak to one of the novice coaches? Indeed, the number 27 car of Sammy Hendricks, and certainly I got to say it was a pretty good day for you, Sammy. Fuji, is this one of your Princess approved tracks, or what's going on here? Because you were absolutely on it today.
I gotta say, guys, you keep dragging me in here without my consent. I'm gonna have to file a complaint with PR. But nah, man, I did some endurance races in Fuji in the past. I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. No, I got some laps on this track. I like the track. It's pretty good. I like it better with the chicane though. Can definitely use a second hard braking zone. But yo, real quick, these coaches are absolutely amazing. If you're new to sim racing, start here, because out there it's nothing but noise. These coaches are genius level coaches, man. Like, real world and in sim racing, you cannot start your sim racing path no better way than here. Or even if you're advanced, come here, because there's always something to learn. Yeah, man, huge shout out to the coaches, big gains. The whole group is driving so fast. Everyone's so equal. It's so hard to get ahead now. It's all great problems to have, you know.
Well, certainly, you can see our producer there trolling in the broadcast booth a little bit there. But I got to say, on the subject of coaching as well. So Sammy is one of our novice coaches, but I think one of the big things that we don't often, we don't really get into is this is only one split, ladies and gentlemen. There's 3, sometimes 4 splits of this league, ladies and gentlemen. So to run in with these guys, they do indeed have to be the best of the best. It is a qualifying that happens before this league even goes live. So just keep that in mind. You're competing on literally a world level here. And certainly a thing with the coaching as well is that, don't get me wrong, as drivers, as people, as humans, we do start to make habits. And you know what? Maybe having a coach is the best way of making sure these are good habits and indeed doing the course material as well. I mean, you got the motor racing checklist, you got the Almeida Academy as well. If you want to run in this league, though, you must be a member. It's $25 a month, if I remember rightly. Certainly, we'll put it on the ad again for you before we go. But Sammy, a huge congratulations to you. You had a fantastic week here today, and we hope to see you having continued success there at Algarve.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Shout out to VJ. I know his mic wasn't working. Do 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 do. Let's go, VJ. Do 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 do. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sammy Hendricks, as always, making an impression, and certainly I did find it amusing that it's not just me. Leon as well, recognizing that the man will indeed bump draft anything. But we should just about bring this show to a close, and I gotta say, we've absolutely loved having you all in the chat. If it's not been on our own channel, Pit Road Productions on YouTube, we've had you there, and Swelly Almeida's channel as well. Definitely make sure you hit the like and mainly hit the subscribe buttons, ladies and gentlemen. You'll get reminders, you'll get notifications to say that, we've gone live again, and we'd love to see you back. Certainly, whether you're a spectator, whether you're a racer, I don't mind. I just generally enjoy the company. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously, I do not get out much. You can see that, and please embrace me in that decision or indeed that circumstance. But my name has, and I guess always will be, Daniel Sippy Salmon. And joining me in the commentary booth today was Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner. By all means, check him out on Twitch as well. And at the production controls, Rob Campbell. Thank you very much for joining us here for the Almeida Racing Academy, and we'll see you in 1 week's time.
The Almeida Racing League is growing fast. Hundreds of drivers, multiple splits, broadcasted races, and it's not just about individual winning, it's a team championship. You race with your own squad, you learn how to compete, and you grow together. And we don't throw you into the races blindly. Every week, we help you prepare with pit parties to train side-by-side battles, workshops with live coaching, 20 driving challenges with full tutorials, and even group raids into official iRacing races after the league night. For just $25 a month, this is the most complete training experience in sim racing. Join us as a member today to start your advanced training and racing with us. I'll see you on track.